directly to phrasal verbs. Oh, Elsie is activating the microphone, right? But I cannot hear you, girl. I tried to. I thought you wanted. Your microphone is.
No, teacher.
There
I
you
didn't
are.
open.
You didn't open the microphone. Oh, okay,
No.
okay. Okay, that's why I couldn't hear you, right? That makes total sense. That's good. That's good. That's excellent because we are going to cover some vocabulary things before our evaluation. This evaluation will have a little bit of useful phrasal verbs and vocabulary that I need to cover with you that I think will be very, very useful for also for Silvana and for Isaac. So let me know, please, what do you remember about phrasal verbs and well, how do you use them? Silvana and Isaac, you have seen a little bit of that with me. Please tell me what you remember about them.
Well, okay. I remember that phrasal verbs are verbs, but they are, how to say, compound,
No, comprised.
comprised.
Mhm.
Okay, by two words.
Good.
And obviously, the second word changed the meaning of the main verb, no, that we are using.
Mhm.
I remember, for example, right now, like turn on, turn off. Come on, I don't remember more.
The opposite of turn on, what would it be?
Sorry?
The opposite of turn on,
Turn
what
off?
would it be? Turn off. Mhm.
Yes. Backup, I think.
Yes, backup is a phrasal verb.
Let me think another one. I don't remember. I'm not sure.
Say give up.
Give up.
Give
Give up.
up. Very
Yes.
good,
Okay.
Silvana. Mhm.
Common is common phrasal verb.
Mm, no, that will be a chunk, a
Okay.
cookie. Yeah, no, that will be different.
For example, I am wearing uh, how to say, a hoodie
Mhm.
that say I need to take away. No, I need to get away.
I need to get away. Get away is a phrasal verb.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. And get has a lot of them. No?
Yes, get in, get. Is it get out? Something
Get
possible?
out. Mhm. Of course.
Yeah. Yes, run away,
Of
uh,
course.
and that's it. I don't
That's
remember
great.
more.
That's great. What? Let's go with Elsie. Are you familiar with any phrasal verb apart from the ones that you heard from them?
Mm, I was thinking in the phrasal verbs with get in, get out,
Yes.
get into. I think so.
Mhm.
Take it off.
Take
Uh,
off. Correct.
oh, I don't remember when airplane left the land. uh,
It's actually very similar to the one with clothes. Take off
take off,
is
take off.
the same actually. Which
Sorry.
is also another thing, no? That we have take off and we have the same phrasal verb with two different meanings, which
Mhm.
becomes yes, of course. So that's exactly what we are going to attack, and this is very interesting. The topic that you are saying right now is very, very important to keep in mind. So we are going to analyze three things during this lesson. First, how to use them. No, how to memorize them. because it's pretty much a lot of work. Number two, how to use them, right? Identifying separables and non-separables, which has a connection with transitive and intransitive verbs. Number three, we're going to learn how to associate them with an easier synonym, right? And number four, what else is it? Same phrasal verb, different meanings. So we are going to cover all these four things about phrasal verbs. These are the four things that you need to take into consideration when you are talking about phrasal verbs. And the first thing that I think is the most important part is learning to memorize them. I have a question. Do you remember the strategy I taught you about memorizing these words that have very different meanings?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Okay. No,
Oh, me,
that's
me neither.
fantastic, because that's an opportunity to teach you. Don't worry. Don't worry, Elsie. That was for you, Elsie, this is new. For Silvana and Isaac, this is not new. But anyway, that's an opportunity for me to teach you again. Okay? Probably this time I'm gonna do a better job. You know? Don't, Silvana, don't be sad. I am sad. You don't worry. Okay? Check this out. The expression here is that we are talking about something, or the biggest problem when we are talking about phrasal verbs is that we always see a massive list in the dictionary without context. If I go to the verb get and I click on the section of phrasal verbs, I will see this. I will see this massive, extraneous, and infinite list of phrasal verbs that really have no context. This is the worst way to learn. You are never going to memorize them this way. I promise you, I guarantee that to you. You know? So then what's the strategy? What would be the right way? Avoiding these massive lists and going directly to topics by collocations and topics. What does it mean? If you are going to learn phrasal verbs, you need to understand a massive context and memorize conversations in which you usually use the word. This is going to be the tip that we are going to learn today. Phrasal verbs are better understood and memorized if you remember the conversation in which it happened. This has a very close connection with collocations and chunks. because you remember collocations and chunks, the cookie, the famous cookie, are words that usually go together, no? So when you are talking about words that usually go together, also conversations that usually take specific words. Let's use an example and let's use one of these videos. Phrasal verbs that we use at the office. Check this out.
I'm Sabra, your British University English teacher, and today we're going to be looking at 25 professional phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs are a bit of a funny one because we always tell you they're much more for informal context, don't use them as much formally. However, we do actually use them quite a lot at work as well.
Yes, lady, you go directly to the point. Here.
To speak out. And this is where we express our opinion publicly or honestly about something. Sometimes it can be where it's rather difficult to speak out about something. It's a bit of an awkward topic or something which people might be surprised to hear, but it's something that obviously the person feels they need to say or to share. So an example might be, John spoke out in the meeting regarding the time frame for the new project. He felt it was a little bit optimistic and we needed a bit longer. Or staff have spoken out regarding their worries over job security. They would like to know more about whether they will definitely be able to keep their jobs next year. The next one is to stand for something. And this is often written in a company's mission statement or written about their values, because these are principles or beliefs that a company has. This is where we use stand for. So we might say, we stand for a brighter future for all our young employees. Or we stand for equality in terms of employment. We're an equal opportunities employer. It's the principles that a company has. Supermarkets might say things like, we stand for good food for everyone, good food and reasonably priced for everyone. It's the values or principles that a company has. What do you stand for? Or what does the company you work for stand for? Tell us about that in the comments below. Number 3 is shoot up or shot up is the past tense, of course. This means increased rapidly. Obviously, if you fire a gun, the shot goes very, very fast. The bullet flies very quickly through the air. So in this case, this is when something has increased very rapidly. So if you say the market share for Apple has shot up, we might even hear that it's gone through the roof. Shot up, it means it's increased very, very rapidly. Or coronavirus cases have shot up in recent days, something like that. Increased very rapidly. Number 4, call for. Call for means require or necessitate. A situation requires or necessitates something, so we can say it calls for. For example, you might say, this project calls for a lot of devotion from the staff, a lot of hard work and commitment for it to succeed. Or this new technological age we're living in calls for a completely different style of marketing strategy. Now, if you're having a celebration, for example, you've done very well at work or even at home, we also use this one, you can say, oh, well, we've done so well this week, the figures have gone through the roof, they've shot up. This calls for a celebration, this calls for drinks after work. Or even, this calls for a bottle of champagne. Your best please, waiter. Number 5 is to branch out, to branch out. And this means to expand into new business areas. So for example, some businesses decide to go into a different business area than the one they're currently working in. For example, the company Virgin Atlantic, they've always done travel. Now they're branching out into space travel. Or for example, a publishing company that publishes books usually might branch out into online books or into translation services. So it's where businesses expand into new business areas. Number 6 is to sort out, and normally we say we need to sort something out or sort out something. So it's a transitive and intransitive phrasal verb. So we might say, for example, I need to sort out the timetable for this week, meaning I need to fix or I need to organize something. Basically, this means fix or organize. I need to sort out my desk. It's a mess. Layla, I'm talking to you.
If you want to make money online as an affiliate marketer, you may find this a little bit controversial, but we've stumbled.
Sorry, there's a Continue.
Need to fix a problem. So we might say, I really need to sort out who's going to cover because there's lots of members of staff off this week. So I really need to sort out who's going to do the cover. Is there something you need to sort out at the moment? If there is, tell me about that in the comments below. Number 7 is scale up. And we can say we're scaling up something. That's what we usually say. We're scaling up something. So for example, we're scaling up the project, we're scaling up the building work. It's basically increasing something in terms of size, number, or extent. So expanding, really. But it's not exactly the same as branch out because it doesn't necessarily mean into a new area. Scaling up just simply means making bigger, really. So for example, we might say we're scaling up the research into anti-cancer drugs. It means expanding it, making it a bigger project. New members of staff, new laboratories, everything like that. Next one is scale down, the opposite. And this of course means to decrease something, to actually take it down a level. So companies might say, we're scaling down our customer services roles and teams because we're actually moving to more computer-based, more machine-led customer services, which is happening all over the world, isn't it? So scaling something down, reducing it, decreasing it. Number 10 is to put in. And in this context, it means to actually give. So it means what you're actually giving in terms of hours or time, usually in the business context. So you might say, I need to succeed on this project. I'm putting in so many hours, I'm putting in so much time. I really need it to work. So it really means giving in that way. You could also say monetary. So you could say, I'm putting in a lot of money into this project. So again, in that context, it means to give. What are you putting in terms of learning English? Are you putting in a couple of hours a week, a day a week, just the odd morning? What are you putting in terms of your English language learning? Tell me about that in the comments below. And don't worry, no judgments, you can be honest. Next one is to step in, to step in. And this is basically like to intervene or to become involved in a difficult situation. So for example, we might say, we need some PR people to step in because the politician made a couple of mistakes in his speech. So we need the PR people to step in and come and fix this. It's like get involved in a difficult situation. Number 12 is to do away with. Lots of synonyms here, very useful synonyms. You can also say to scrap something, to get rid of something. So the closest to do away with is get rid of, which means remove, do not use anymore, something which becomes basically useless. We don't do that anymore and we don't have that thing anymore. So scrap and get rid of are synonyms. They mean exactly the same. Get rid of, do away with, and scrap. So for example, you could say we're doing away with giving our employees paper statements, paper pay slips, because we're actually having all of those online now. They can download them online and print them if they want, but we're not going to give them paper statements anymore. This happened at my work. Has it happened at your work that you no longer get paper pay slips or things via paper and post anymore? It all comes online because a lot of that has been done away with. Next one is stick up for. And this basically means defend. And it's certainly not just used in the business context, it's also used in families, in many, many different contexts. So it's basically like when somebody feels that they have been wrongly treated or something where they feel they need defending or a project needs defending, this is when you would stick up for something. So for example, you would say, well, I'm going to stick up for the new system because I think it will work. We just need to give it a little bit more time. Or a teacher might say, no, I'm going to stick up for this pupil. I think he will progress in his English. Again, we just need to give him a bit more time, or we need to show him things in a different way. In terms of family life, members of families can often feel like they're not stuck up for or ask people to stick up for them, to defend them in certain situations. So they might say, oh, come on, stick up for me. I don't always leave my socks on the floor or something like that. The next one means hold back, which means wait or withdraw. So if you need to hold back, it means you need to just not do anything at that time, just wait to see what the outcome is. So you might say, when you're training a new member of staff, sometimes we need to hold back and let them figure out some things for themselves. We can't give them everything all at once. Sometimes it's important for the trainer to hold back or hang back and just let them try and work things out. It's the same with teaching. Sometimes if we give the pupils the answer too quickly, they haven't learned. It's better to hold back and just wait and see if they can do it. Also, in terms of business arrangements, sometimes we need to hold back and just see what's going to happen. It's like wait and see what the outcome will be before taking any action. The next one is pushback. And basically this means complaints or somebody is coming back about something. So it's like someone saying, actually, I'm not sure about this. So you say, you go against something. So we might say there's been pushback from members of staff about the stricter dress code. People aren't used to it. So this would be where staff would be saying, oh, I'm not sure about this. Do we really need to do it? It's like complaints or resistance. I think that's probably the best way to explain it, complaints or resistance. Often people in more senior positions prepare themselves for this and they say, okay, when we introduce this, we need to understand that there's going to be some pushback and we're going to be ready to explain why we need to do this so that we can deal with that pushback. Number 17 is weigh up, weigh something up. So when you weigh something, we normally put it on scales, and more traditional weighing scales have two parts, and you would see where the balance lies. So this is where this phrasal verb comes from. You would say we're weighing up the pros and cons, or we're weighing up what the best course of action is. It means we're considering the different options and thinking about which one would be the best. My partner and I are going to get married hopefully soon, and at the moment we're weighing up the different options in terms of go and get married abroad, just the two of us, or have a big party and have a traditional honeymoon, but we're not sure about the cost of having a big party with everyone here and doing the traditional wedding. So we thought about going and getting married, just the two of us, and then having a party back here afterwards. We're weighing that up at the moment. What do you think, everyone? What should we do? Any tips on that one? Before I talk too much about that tangent, a more professional example would be, we're weighing up the pros and cons of the new trade deal. Number 18 is lay off, lay someone off. And this means make someone redundant. So to say to somebody that sadly they don't have a job anymore, and to give them a notice period. So say to them, in 1 month, I'm afraid your contract will expire, will be over. And when we make someone redundant or we lay someone off, this means that they haven't done anything wrong necessarily. It's not like being fired or being sacked. There's a difference here. This is where often the job is no longer viable business-wise. So there's been a way to save money, or the job is going to be done in a different way, so we won't need that position anymore. There's a variety of reasons, but it's not necessarily the person's fault. Whereas if they're sacked or fired, they've usually done something a bit naughty. Number 19 is go under, to go under. And this means fail business-wise, no longer be viable, go bust is another synonym, go bankrupt. So no longer, the business doesn't work anymore. So unfortunately, you've had to close. So sadly, we've had a lot of business giants, I would say, on the high street that have gone under in the coronavirus.
Con Amex, reduce tu saldo en cuenta con puntos.
Two more. I want to take notes of the rest, okay? First, try to follow through. The next one is reach in. Next one is go after. We have run into, which is really useful. And then to go over. And I'm going to just use the ones that I consider the most useful for you, which is actually in a list that while I was listening to her, I was having some ideas that I think is going to be useful for you. Look at this. I want to explain everything that she said because she was speaking a lot of information, but in a nutshell, she mentioned a couple of these. I added others that I think are very, very useful for you. And most importantly, I'm going to add some of them that are actually British, exclusive for British speaking, because as you noticed, she is not American. Many cultural differences between British English and American English is vocabulary. So it's not only the pronunciation, it's also some words that change. She actually mentioned some of them that are just British, and you are going to face them in the Cambridge certification sometimes. From time to time, you are going to see British phrasal verbs, but this only happens in advanced speech. This doesn't usually happen in B2. What happens in B2 is that we usually have phrasal verbs that are more common in neutral English, such as start off, sort out, lay off, go after, everything about all the words that we have in front are the ones that are very commonly used at work. So let's review them, okay? Because I'm going to teach you today, number one, definitions, and number two, how to use them, okay? Sort out, organize. Have you ever heard that word before? The word sort out?
Yes.
Great. In what context have you heard it, Isaac?
Excel.
Excel? Excel?
Yes. Yes. When
Oh, in
you enter
Excel.
a filter, yes. Excel gives you the option of sort out by day,
Nice.
by name, by I don't know. Yes.
So important, brother. Yes. So you can sort your files and documentation in alphabetical order,
Yeah.
in time addition of the expression. Good job, Isaac. Very, very good job. You also sort out your ideas. Whenever you are feeling confused, you need some time to sort yourself out. That's another way to use it. So you can use a lot physical way, but also metaphorical. Okay. Good job. Start off. Have you ever heard that one before?
No.
Don't worry. Let's check it out. Similar to begin.
To start off with a strong foundation to your marriage. One based in trust, communication, honesty, and of course, love.
That was a nice start.
To start off with a strong foundation to your marriage.
He's talking about a new marriage. That's why he talked about a foundation, a strong foundation. The foundation is the beginning of a construction. Yes. You start off when you begin something. So at the beginning of a meeting, we can say, well, guys, we can start off by introducing everybody. Hello, my name is Fernando, blah, blah, blah. We can start off with introductions. We can start off with the first slide. All right. Can you notice a chunk here? That words that usually go together in this case.
Start off with.
Yes. The connector with is a chunk. This is optional. Interesting. We don't have start up doing, start up on. No, we don't have with in the dictionary, but in spoken English, you can identify the word with. And you can also remove it. You can say, this is a great topic to start up. Very useful at meetings, conferences, writings, for your essays in the exam, TOEFL essays, the first certificate articles, etc. Okay. Questions will start off. That's it. Okay. The next two, we have scale up and scale down. Scale up and scale down, we are talking about expansion and reduction, right? You can talk about territory, you can talk about sorry. You can talk about activities, staff, things like that. It expands, it reduces. It scales up, it scales down. All right? What kind of things can scale up and scale down at work? Silvana, any idea? Are you there? Okay, don't worry then. Elsie, do you have any idea of things that can scale up and scale down?
I remember that I read that, for example, the bioreactor can scale up the process.
The bioreactor can scale up the process, okay.
Something like that. I remember this phrasal verb when in the university we told about increase the productions of bacterium.
So bacterium can scale up.
The instrument, the bioreactor, where you grow the bacterium.
The instrument where you grow the bacterium can scale up. I don't understand. Because what you scale up is something that can expand. Can you expand the instrument?
No, the bacterium.
Yeah, the number of bacterium, right? So yeah, exactly. In this case, you should say the bacteria, plural. Bacteria has scaled up. That's a very specific topic. Yes. And associating with real life situations can help you memorize. Perfect. That's for scale up or down, no? Something that can scale down. Do you have any idea at work, Elsie?
An example. No, really. I understand the word, but I can do a example.
Something that has been happening a lot in companies these days is that they let go many employees. So to fire employees and reducing the number of employments that the company provides is to scale down the number of employees. That's something I can get, which is a nice transition to the one over here I have in the bottom. Let me move it over here to lay off. To lay off is to fire a person. Thank you for your service. Here's your money. See you now.
But I remember that in the video, the person mentioned something, no, that it's something different. It's not because you are doing something wrong, no? It's more because
Exactly.
it's due to different reasons, no?
Correct, because when the person is doing something wrong, we usually say the word fire.
Yeah.
If the person is laid off, the person was like probably for
Unnecessary.
numbers. I didn't want to say that, but yes.
Yeah.
It sounds so horrible, but yeah, the person wasn't necessary. It was an expense more than a profit. So it was like, you know what? We need to lay you off.
Yeah.
Mhm. And the definition that we have next to it, the word let go, is actually another phrasal verb. They let me go. It's similar to say they fired me. Mhm. And it's not only in romantic songs. You can actually put it on romantic songs in a romantic environment. Don't let me go, please. And that's another way to use it. It's the same phrasal verb in a different context. You see? Layoff, scale down the employees. Now, to scale down the number of employees, we need to lay off a couple of people. Okay? Put in, to give. When you are talking about effort. I put in 12 hours of my day every single day to my course, to my English course. I'm having ideas and increasing the program and improving it and finding solutions for my students. I'm putting in a lot of effort into each of your feedbacks. Right? The word put in is usually used in the context of work, and this is something that the woman said. In the context of work, it's about putting effort. In other contexts, it can be a little bit different. We have the word put in casinos, for example. When you are going to bet higher, you put in some money. Or when you are cooking in a recipe, you are putting in some ingredients. In the terms of work, we are talking about effort. Putting in the hours, putting in the hustle, putting in the strains. I don't know. You're talking about effort. Okay. Next, to step in is to intervene. Any ideas of who steps in at work?
Yes, for example, my boss stepped in when I was dealing with a difficult client or something like that.
Nice. Be careful. Conjugate your verbs, because you are
Yeah.
not saying present or past.
Okay, my boss stepped. Is it a regular verb?
It's a
No,
regular
right?
verb.
Stepped in when I was dealing with a difficult client.
Fantastic. And you mentioned another one right now to deal with.
Oh. But is it a phrasal verb or is it a chunk?
Of course, it is a phrasal verb. Because only
Okay.
deal as a verb is to, oh, wait, no. It can be a chunk.
Yeah, I think that it's a chunk now.
Deal, yes, this is a chunk. You are so right. Because you are handling situation, dealing. Yes, forget it.
Okay.
That's so interesting. What is the difference between a chunk and a phrasal verb? You have the perfect definition.
Do I have it?
Yeah, like how do you identify?
That I think that the meaning of the verb in this case dealing doesn't change, but it must be expressed with because if not it sounds incomplete, no?
Exactly.
But with a phrasal verb, when you add the second word, or you are changing the meaning.
Of the verb.
Yes.
Totally correct. So when the verb changes meaning, you are dealing with phrasal verbs. And when the verb is the same, that's only a chunk. Memorize the words together. Good job. Good job. The next one, to get rid of. This expression is considered a phrasal verb because the word read by itself, you cannot use it. But the word get exists by itself. The thing is that you need to put these three, and you are going to see that some phrasal verbs actually have three components, not necessarily two. This is one of the cases. Get rid of has three components to say, stop doing something or erasing processes or things. To stop or erase. For example, the team needed to get rid of the last presentation because it had a lot of mistakes. That's the usage of it. I repeat, the team needed to get rid of the last presentation because it had a lot of mistakes. Does it make sense?
Could you repeat the last part? Because what?
Sure. The team needed to get rid of the last presentation because it had a lot of mistakes.
Ah, okay. Yes, I get it.
That's the usage of get rid of. Etc. Tell me something that you needed to get rid of recently. Silvana.
It could be something like I get rid of my English class because I was super tired.
Well, are you talking in present or in past? You need to conjugate your verbs. Or in future.
I'll get rid of my English class because I'm tired.
Perfect. I get rid of, which is, I even would say that you need I am getting as a plan, or I will get as an spontaneous decision.
Can you repeat that?
Sure. If you are talking, if you're saying I am
No, the second.
tired,
Okay.
the second, well, the part of the I will get rid of.
I say that I'll.
Oh, you say I'll, microphone problems. I'll get rid of, correct, because I am tired. That's a spontaneous decision, and you decide to remove it.
Yeah. But it's
Precisely.
only an example.
Yes, it's pinky promise. Yes, that's correct. We are using the word get rid of, got rid of, will get rid of, is going to get rid of. It depends on our context. Don't forget that phrasal verbs are still verbs. We need to conjugate.
Okay.
Good job. Let's give a moment because Jessie is in the chat. Hello, Jess.
Hello, teacher. Good night. Good
Hi.
night. So I will get attendance, please. This here. Silvana. Hello, Silvana. Good night.
Hello, Jessie. Good night.
Thank you. Elsie. Hi, Elsie. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Good night, Elsie. Thank you. And Isaac. Hello, Isaac. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Thank you, Isaac. So somebody else, teacher, or
That's it, girl.
that's all right. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Jessie. You too.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. You got the idea. In order to get you through this list quicker, we are going to have lean on is similar to the chunk dependent on. Hold back is to avoid doing. push back is to postpone. To go under is to go bankrupt, but that's not really common. She mentioned it in the video, but we are not going to study that one. It's better to use fall through. Fall through is to not complete a task. You're like, oops, I fell through and my deadline is today, but I haven't finished it. I fell through the project. Go after, to pursue, to run into, to meet by accident or chance. To go over is similar to review. What a difference is to learn phrasal verbs by context than by a massive list without context. This is the worst way to memorize phrasal verbs. The best way is to pay attention whenever a phrasal verb is used. When you see a phrasal verb in a particular context, you can catalog them in their corresponding topic. Okay. Any questions until now?
No, teacher.
Cool. Now I'm going to show you a little sneak peek of tomorrow's class. What happens with words and how to use them? Phrasal verbs can be separable and non-separable. For example, look at this sentence. I heard General Electric is going to lay off 1,000 workers this week. The object, 1,000 workers, is directly associated or is the object of the verb layoff. But I can say, I heard General Electric is going to lay 1,000 workers off this week. Do you remember this?
Yes.
This is what we call separable and non-separable phrasal verbs. This is going to be what we are going to see tomorrow. When it's necessary to separate them and when it's not necessary to separate them, and how the separation affects the meaning. Okay? So let's keep it over here. I hope you don't have questions. And if you do, let me know. Okay, we finish for today.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
Everyone.
Have a good night, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.
Bye. Good night.